You've probably all seen or know that program. I don't know what it is, but I have seen it. I think it's Les Dennis, where they ask somebody a question and they have to answer it.
100 people to name a place where you wouldn't expect to meet a nun. Janet.
A brothel.
Then they go through a percentage of people who've given the same answer from the audience. I have basically asked my audience, and in this case my audience is ChatGPT. So I have a Citroen Ami that does 28 miles per hour, and I pay 3p per mile. And then say somebody's got a Rolls-Royce Spectre, range 329 miles, my range is 46 miles, 120 kilowatt hour battery. This vehicle, 395,950, and he pays exactly the same fuel duty as I do in my Citroen Ami. Which brain dead numbskull thought this tax through? This is the question I asked. If a petrol car gets 50 miles to the gallon and they pay 53p plus VAT per litre fuel tax, how much does it cost them to drive 10,000 miles? ChatGPT said,
You just jump on and ride, what do you think?
Your partner.
Fuel used. Car efficiency 50 miles per gallon. Distance 10,000 miles. Gallons used 10,000 divided by 50 equals 200 gallons. 200 times 4.546 equals 909.2 litres. Fuel tax paid 53p per litre fuel duty plus VAT at 20%. Tax per litre equals 0.53 times 1.20, and that's 0.636 pence per litre. Total fuel tax cost 909.2 litres times 0.636 equals £578.25. Final answer. Is that your final answer, or do you want to phone a friend? Driving 10,000 miles costs £578.25 in fuel tax alone. Just the duty plus VAT, not the full price of petrol. What is the average range covered per kilowatt hour in an EV? Most modern EVs do roughly 3 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Efficient small EVs, 4 to 5 miles per kilowatt hour. Gentle driving in good weather. Average family EVs, 3 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Big SUVs, fast driving, winter, can drop to 2 to 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So if you want a simple working figure for comparison, use 3 miles per kilowatt hour as a realistic average. At 7p per kilowatt hour and 5% VAT, how much would it cost to drive an EV 10,000 miles if it did 4 miles per kilowatt hour? Range 10,000 miles. Efficiency 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Kilowatt hours required equals 10,000 divided by 4, which is 2,500 kilowatt hours. Cost per kilowatt hour. Here's where it gets interesting. I'm always being told that you can get 7p per kilowatt hour off-peak charging. And in fact, I think the link in my description, Octopus Energy, they do something like that. However, as I've said before, I wouldn't recommend charging your EV overnight outside your house with your family asleep. And I think it's Zurich Insurance says that basically you should keep a 2-meter exclusion zone round your EV while it's charging. No dustbins, rubbish, anything like that. Long grass. And also keep an eye on it while it's charging. So to me that suggests they don't want you to charge. If your house insurance is with Zurich Insurance, They take a dim view of you charging when you've not got eyes on your vehicle, when you're asleep, when you're upstairs in bed. So I'm going to do this calculation for those of you who are brave enough and don't think anything of your family, so you'll charge your EV overnight while they're asleep in bed, because you just want to save money. Then this calculation's for you. So 7p per kilowatt hour plus home electricity tariff is 5% VAT. So that's 7p times 1.05 equals 7.35 pence per kilowatt hour. Total cost 2,500 kilowatt hours times 7.35 pence equals 18,375 pence. Convert to pounds. 18,375 pence divided by 100 equals £183.75. It would cost £183.75 to drive 10,000 miles, assuming 7 pence per kilowatt hour plus 5% VAT and 4 miles per kilowatt hour efficiency. Then it goes on to say, assuming 0.7p per kilowatt hour, which is extremely low and only possible with certain specialised tariffs or surplus solar. One would think it is possible. Okay, please calculate it at average day rate electricity in the home. ChatGPT said, good question. Let's use a reasonable recent UK average home electricity rate and then compute costs for 10,000 miles with your EV and 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Typical UK domestic electricity rate. According to recent data, a typical UK household pays about 26.35p per kilowatt hour under the energy price cap with direct debit inclusive for VAT. This is ignoring the standing charge because you've got that on your house anyway, so charging an EV is no extra cost in your daily standing charge rate. EV energy use. Cost at residential rate, sorry, not the 7p per mile. 2,000 kilowatt hours times 0.2635 pence equals £658.75. Now that's changed a bit, hasn't it? That's changed a lot. And bearing in mind, that's only 26p. When you go on a motorway service station, it's up in the 60 to 80 pence per kilowatt hour, as far as I know. So when you start doing calculations like that, it's not looking good, is it?
So what's a sensible average motorway rapid price? If you ignore special subscriptions and just think turn up and pay at a motorway type rapid, ultra rapid charger, the main rapid network's price is currently bunched between 55 pence and 89 pence per kilowatt hour. On actual motorway services, you're mostly hitting the top half of that band: GridServe, BP Pulse, Instavolt, Shell, Ionity, etc. A realistic working average for UK motorway fast rapid charging in late 2025 is 80 pence per kilowatt hour, with a sensible range of about 70 to 90p per kilowatt hour. 3 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour, roughly 20 to 27p per mile at motorway rapids. Step-by-step calculations. EV 4 miles per kilowatt hour, 80 pence per kilowatt hour charge. Energy use over 10,000 miles, 10,000 miles divided by 4 miles per kilowatt hour equals 2,500 kilowatt hours. Charging costs, 2,500 kilowatt hours times 80 pence equals £2,000. Add the new EV road tax, 3 pence per mile. 10,000 miles times 3 pence equals £300. Total EV cost equals 2,000 plus 300, £2,300. ICE car, 50 miles per gallon, £1.45 per litre. Convert fuel prices to pounds per gallon. UK gallon equals 4.546 litres. 4.546 times £1.45 equals £6.59 per gallon. Cost per mile, £6.59 divided by 50 equals 13.18 pence per mile, rounded up to 13.2. Over 10,000 miles, 10,000 times 13.2 equals £1,320. Total ICE cost £1,320. Final comparison, 10,000 miles, EV at 4 miles per kilowatt hour plus motorway charging plus EV ED, £2,300. Cost of 23 pence per mile. ICE car at 50 miles per gallon, total cost £1,320 or 13.2 pence per mile. EV motorway charging plus new EV ED equals £2,300. Petrol 50 miles per gallon equals £1,320. An EV costs £980 more over 10,000 miles. That's 74% more expensive for the EV on motorway rapid charging. That is not taking into account the catastrophic depreciation on EVs at the moment. The case for ICE vehicles gets stronger and stronger by the day.
So when you do calculations like that, it's not looking good, is it? Here's a clean comparison showing what 10,000 miles costs in an EV doing 4 miles per kilowatt hour at different home electricity prices. EV charging cost comparison, 10,000 miles at 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Cost table, electricity price per kilowatt hour, cost for 2,500 kilowatt hour. Notes, 20p per kilowatt hour, £500. Cheap fixed tariff, smart export offset, 26p per kilowatt hour UK, average £658.75. Typical home rate, 30 pence per kilowatt hour, £750. That's common standard tariff without deals. 35 pence per kilowatt hour, £875. Higher end standard tariff, 40 pence per kilowatt hour, £1,000. Some variable tariffs during peak. Realistically, most people charging at home in the UK will pay £600 to £900 to drive 10,000 miles in an EV depending on their tariff. Small point but worth mentioning. If you get a small economical petrol car that does more miles to the gallon than 50 miles per gallon, you don't pay as much fuel tax. The bigger your engine, the more uneconomical your car is, the more you're paying fuel tax. So people with bigger ICE cars pay more fuel duty and tax, as you would expect. What about EVs? So I have a Citroen Ami that does 28 miles per hour and I pay 3 pence per mile. And then say somebody's got a Rolls-Royce Spectre, range 329 miles, my range is 46 miles, 120 kilowatt hour battery. This vehicle, 395,950, and he pays exactly the same fuel duty as I do in my Citroen Ami. Which brain dead, numbskull thought this tax through?